Yeah, I really don't enjoy this thing. But to be fair, it does have its own pros, but it has a lot of cons. So just like the OG HomePod, this only can connect with AirPlay. This one in particular, it's actually using AirPlay too, just like the HomePod Mini. But when it comes to streaming, like just general Bluetooth connectivity, like from an Android phone or another device that uses Bluetooth, you're unable to do that. Which is why the HomePod is perfect for the Apple ecosystem. And I do enjoy the proximity capability to just simply tap whatever I'm listening to on my iPhone onto the HomePod. It will automatically transfer. But sometimes this works 50% of the time, sometimes it's still buggy, even on the Mini. Now, this review isn't me just gonna completely just roast this product and just say it's a bad device.
Sick.
Don't get offended, HomePod. But I've actually tried its unique features that it has, like the capability to be paired to stereo. So if you have an Apple TV, you can actually utilize this as a soundbar. But in my living room, which is larger than normal households, it had a hard time filling up that one room compared to something that I already have, like my Sonos soundbar. And yes, I'm somewhat comparing apple to oranges, but when you actually take in consideration that the HomePod itself, these ones, the HomePod 2nd Gen, is $300 each. So in grand total, that's $600 about, not including taxes. And then you gotta actually take in consideration you need to buy the Apple TV in order to use the stereo pairing capability on your television. So that's about $150 more, or if you find it on sale, $100 more. Let's say $100 more just to keep it safe. Now in grand total, that's already up to $700, not including taxes. So the equivalent to this would be like the Sonos Ray, or if you go to Costco, you can actually find the Sonos Arc for that same price tag. So if your objective is to use the HomePod to be a soundbar, you're better off actually picking up a soundbar. And Sonos soundbars are not cheap. They're actually high quality, and they're well known for their great sounding experience, just like the HomePod. And the Sonos, in my opinion, can deliver a better sound experience, especially when watching cinematic movies, compared to the HomePod. So if you're using it for that method, I do not recommend. The HomePod is more for average size homes, especially apartments. With these two in stereo pair mode, I could definitely see these easily filling up that room and making everything sound great. But again, if you're spending that much, you're better off picking up an actual soundbar, especially when you take in consideration that the HomePod does not support Bluetooth streaming. Where with soundbar, you have full capability to do so. You're not limited with just Apple products. And then the stereo pair mode on the HomePod Mini is only compatible on the 2nd generation HomePod. In other words, if you have a Mini or HomePod 2 and you're trying to pair these two different devices together, it's not going to work. Same goes if you have the OG HomePod and you're trying to pair it to the new HomePod 2, it will not work. You can only use one model to pair with the other model. You can't use different models. Now, other pros of the HomePod 2nd generation you have is the voice recognition, which means now actually has the capability to actually deliver private personal information upon your request, like knowing somebody's location. But here's the thing, $300 for the HomePod 2nd generation. The HomePod Mini, was the recent firmware update that I received, also has this exact capability, as I can literally request, where's location?
Looks like he's close by.
So I had to censor all that, but it literally just told me the location of the individual that I requested for on the Find My app. The Mini can also do that for just $100. And then the sound alarm recognition, the HomePod 2 has, again, the HomePod Mini also has. It received this during the latest firmware update as well. So both have this capability to warn you if there's a fire alarm in your household. The HomePod can detect that and send you a notification in case you're away, and you can monitor your cameras and see what's up. Yes, it's amazing that HomeKit is fully supported on the HomePod 2nd generation, but once more, the HomeKit is also supported on the Mini. But even HomeKit isn't really the greatest, because I do have a smart lock on my household, and if I verbally request Siri to unlock the front door, it's unable to do so. It still requires me to verify that I want to unlock using my iPhone. For verification purposes, I'm sure, and there's no saying to disable this. I'm only able to verbally request Siri to lock my front door. But other household automations, like temperature, turning on ceiling fans and stuff like that, yeah, you could do that. But once more, the Mini is capable of also doing this. And then yes, we did receive a new temperature sensor as well as a humidity sensor built into the HomePod 2, but the Mini also has this. So in other words, the HomePod costs $300. You can literally purchase 3 of these HomePod minis if you really want to. And these can also be paired stereo mode with the Apple TV, and I've actually personally used these things in stereo mode in a normal sized bedroom, and it makes the whole sounding and listening experience super pleasant, which is an excellent upgrade from using your TV's built-in speakers. These do have some oomph in bass, but that's basically it. Design elements and stuff like that, it is taking inspirational designs from the HomePod mini because this top portion right here, as it is edge to edge, unlike the first generation HomePod, but still yet doesn't have a display or anything like that. It would have been fun if it actually had a display and it had access to an app store where it could do fun stuff like this. And yes, I am very happy that now you can actually easily remove the back cable compared to the OG HomePod, which means you can run it through cable, furniture and stuff like that really easy. And then 2 color choices are available, which is white and black, just like the HomePod mini. The black color option, and actually it's called Midnight. And then the materials and everything else feels high premium, but this bottom portion down here can actually stain your furniture, so I don't recommend putting this thing on top of wood furniture because it's known to leave a permanent stain mark. So put a coaster or something like that underneath it. So really the HomePod is still 90% Siri and 10% is sound. But since it's not open, it's restricted to only allow Apple products to use the HomePod. It's still, in my opinion, extremely limited. So honestly, if you want a smart speaker, the HomePod mini is the best value, especially if you're a Siri user. Because Siri, even in the HomePod stage, it's extremely advanced, but the same ability that Siri has in the HomePod 2 can once more be found in the HomePod mini. Like, where is my phone?
I found 2 iPhones nearby. Which model? iPhone 13 Pro or iPhone 14 Pro?
iPhone 14 Pro.
Looking for your iPhone 14 Pro. It's nearby. Pinging your iPhone 14 Pro now.
And yeah, it's pinning my iPhone 14. Again, the mini can also do what the HomePod 2 can. So I purposely bought this out of pocket because of that exact reason. To give this product a real honest review, because I noticed a lot of content creators that had the embargo period February 1st were just automatically appraising the HomePod 2 and not telling it to you like how it is. But then again, I understand why those content creators decided to do this and just praise the HomePod 2 as if it's some amazing smart speaker available in the market because they want to maintain that relationship that they have with Apple. I've been reached out in advance to make those type of similar videos, but to me it's not worth it, especially if I'm going to make a follow-up from the embargo video. And I also like the frame to do what I like to do without having to send my video out to them in advance just to wait for them to approve it or make some tweaks on my video. I like to just upload them. So that's the reason why I didn't accept it, especially since the stain thing that the whole OG HomePod had, it still is unresolved. Out of all the reviews I watched, only MKHD was the only one that actually was able to still tell the audience that it's going to leave a stain, so don't leave this on wood countertops furniture, especially if they're antique, because it will permanently damage it. He's the only content creator that I can see that's able to get away by mentioning the cons. Since it's easy, he's at a point where he could easily talk negative about so a product can still be good in terms of having a relationship with those manufacturers. But to be honest, the HomePod, if you have the money, it's not bad. Just, I don't see this for everybody. It still is a luxury first-party speaker from Apple. But for overall best value, I still have to give it to the HomePod mini. So all in all, my overall conclusion is it's a great smart speaker, just it's expensive. And for $300, this $100 HomePod mini can also do the exact same thing, just not be able to deliver the same audio quality listening experience. This definitely does have a lot more oomph in its base compared to the mini, but for everything else, smart home appliances and stuff like that, the HomePod 2nd generation features can also be found on the HomePod mini once more. So all in all, this is just honestly a first-party luxury speaker. So if you could actually afford this, yeah, pick it up. But for me, it's honestly not really necessary. I don't always rely on a verbal command for Siri. I'm using my Apple Watch for Siri commands or my iPhone, which my iPhone actually does pick up the hey, s'mores, don't want to set up your device command whenever I'm nearby a HomePod. So my iPhone typically is always taking over those verbal commands, which is why I personally find myself using the mini more than the HomePods too, even the OG HomePod before I sold it. Now, if you have feedback of your own on reasons why the HomePod 2 is better than the mini or why you're picking one up, I like to personally understand why you're getting it. Other than that, there you guys have it. If you'd like to watch more, check out this video over here where I go through my favorite tips and tricks about the HomePod mini. And then that video over there are the first things I adjusted on the HomePod 2 to try to get the most value out of them, including unlocking some disabled features that's disabled by default by Apple. Anywho, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. See ya.